You're listening to
The Classroom Collaborative
podcast with your hosts, Dee Dee Wills,
Ed Rock, and Adam Peterson.
Here we go.
We're so glad you're here.
Let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Classroom Collaborative podcast. I am Adam Peterson.
And I'm Dee Dee Wills.
And we are joined by another guest today. So excited to have our good friend, Cindy Price, here today. Cindy, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're doing great. Well, I'm doing great. Dee Dee, I assume you're doing great.
Yeah, I'm still upright, so that's a good thing.
This
right?
is different it's a Friday afternoon. We never record on Friday afternoon, so I feel like we should have had some adult beverages around for this or something.
Well, I'm super happy because I've had almost my daily allowance of caffeine already, so I am completely awake.
I still have mine going. We're still rocking coffee.
Nice. Well, Cindy just finished teaching all day, right?
Yeah.
And so she's probably like, I'm ready for a nap. But we wanted to have you on because you have been doing virtual teaching since the beginning of the school year. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I didn't mean to say awesome. I meant awesome that I had it right, not that you've been suffering for a long time.
Good for you.
Yay! Oh my God.
No, but
95 full days with my kiddos.
Oh
so
my
you
goodness.
have something exciting. We'll get to it, but you have exciting virtual 100-day stuff coming up?
We'll be doing 101 for first grade.
Oh, awesome.
And then we do 120 because that's our standard is counting up to 120. So we'll be doing 20 days. Yeah.
Well, that's fun. So you mentioned first grade. Let's talk first about you. Tell our listeners, who you are, what you teach, what you've taught.
Where you live, all the things.
Everything. Give us your address, phone number, social security number, and we'll be ready to go.
I live in Delaware, basically in my basement now because that's where I am. Since virtual teaching has started. I have taught in Florida, Georgia, and Delaware. I've taught 19 years of kindergarten, and this is my 9th year of first grade. I'm a single mom to a wonderful girl who's turning 13 this year. Lord have mercy. And, it's been a wild ride. Let's just put it that way.
So ours is going to be 13 this summer. When does your daughter turn 13?
April 15th, tax day.
Okay, so I'm going to be calling you as soon as June hits and being like, what do I do?
She's 13 and I'm a boy mom. So I don't know about all that girl stuff, but if any 13-year-old was like I was, but you have a sweet 13, both of you have sweet 13-year-olds, right?
Wait a minute. Why did you stop talking, Dee Dee? What happened?
I have nothing more to add to that conversation thread, but I think you both have 13. Both of your girls seem really, really sweet. Yeah,
we are gonna be fine.
Cindy's just quiet right now.
Yeah, no, we're gonna be fine. I think the hardest, honestly, thing for her is the virtual part of it because last year we went into total lockdown and it was her 12th birthday, and now we're hitting her 13th birthday and she's still virtual. So I think that has its little ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh my gosh.
That's hard to believe that we're coming up on a year of virtual school. Like
March 13th was our day in the building.
Wow.
Yep.
And mine was earlier than that because I had gotten the flu and I was out for the whole week before that. So my poor kiddos hadn't seen me right before I got the flu. They had my surprise birthday party. And then I got sick the day after.
Wow.
And I was out of school the whole week.
Happy birthday to me.
Yeah.
So, Cindy, I always, I hop on social media and I go by your posts on Facebook and you're always looking like you were having the biggest blast. And I'm sure there's an element of truth to that, but I'm sure there's also times you're not feeling like you're having the best time of your life. But I love looking at kind of what you were doing. So I was hoping that maybe you could, since you've been, every single day, maybe take us a day, kind of walk us through a day in the life of you in the classroom.
Okay. Well, I have a wonderful Kara. She's absolutely wonderful. She is a retired school principal. And so her and I log on every morning at 8:30 on Zoom and we do our little, this is what we're going to do today and well, how's this one going to act? And oh Lord, hope not like yesterday. You know, to get all that stuff out of the way before we get out. We talk about how tired we are, and then all of a sudden the kids come in and we're like, good morning, boys and girls. It's, that seeing them every day is like the biggest joy of my life. I mean, I love seeing my kids every day. Yeah. And being virtual, they have grown into such a wonderful little community that it's just amazing. It's seeing where we started to where we are. When we first started, there was only 14 of them.
Oh.
And then they decided they were going to send some teachers back face to face. Well, because of that, their classrooms had to be smaller due to social distancing. So my class of 14 with 5 intensive IEPs turned into a class of 28, 6 intensive IEPs.
Wow. So were those students already learning? This is what baffles me about the way schools are shifting schedules. And so they had a whole different teacher to start the year? Mm-hmm. And you had already gone how many months before that happened?
We started the Tuesday after Labor Day, and they came to me November 9th.
See, that's not fair to teachers or kids. Like, they have to shift like that, especially at this young age. That's tough. So you had 14 students who had been with another teacher.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they're with your class.
And just think, I had gotten kids from 3 other teachers. So they are 3 different communities to ours.
Oh.
Well, lucky those students, right? No, I'm not knocking the other teachers, but
I know. I'm sure
they get to learn from you.
However, they got the jackpot with you.
Thank you.
So, but you said that your community is really tight knit, right? So you built this. How did that happen? Like, I know what I would do face to face with kiddos, but how did you create that in your virtual world?
One, I made sure they understood that they meant more than anything. So we built a big community. The first 15, 20 minutes, we just talk. We have formed such relationships because it's so important. Relationships virtual is just as important as they are face to face. You have to have that relationship. They have to trust you. They have to know that you are there for the right reason. So we just talked. I just let them talk about whatever they wanted to talk about. We went on so many field trips of kids' houses. I want to show you my new thing. Go ahead. We go through their houses and we'd see grandma and we'd see grandpa and they would just walk through the house and it was just like they got so comfortable being with each other.
Right.
And then we talked about the importance of, staying on mute when somebody's talking and how, yes, you can compliment them. It's okay to compliment them, but wait until they're done talking. And they started doing that. And they would be like, oh, I really like that. Or you did a very nice job talking about this. Thank you very much. And they just started communicating with each other. And then we went from that into the classroom. So
that's
really
awesome.
I love that.
Consistency. You've got to be consistent.
Yeah. So I can imagine that you are probably very consistent.
I have my routine, yes, and I refuse to miss a day. I have not missed a day with my kids this year. I will not miss a day with my kids. I had one day I had to be out due to deaths in the family, and I made sure it was a PD day that I took off and not my kids. Wow. Because I am, to some of these kids, I'm the most constant that they have in their life, and I'm not going to not be there for them.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, I'm talking about. Oh. I was going to say, with the consistency, we see behind you there, for those of you that are watching this, if you're listening, Cindy has her centers board or objectives board and her jobs, which I remember we talked about on my other podcast, how that was fascinating to me that you were able to keep jobs going. Yeah. But consistency, like you said, is key. And I think you've done a great job. And teachers who are listening or watching might be thinking, oh my gosh, how do you even keep it consistent in a virtual space? And I think the important thing to remember here is some teachers have been virtual, might not have had as well of success as you have. Some teachers have gone back, but now schools are shifting back to virtual because cases went up. So I think everything you have to say about that is very, very important. So let's talk real quick about that consistency. How did you make sure that schedule flow, that you kept all that stuff going behind you? What was it from day one that you felt was like that switch or whatever that just worked? How were you able to include the classroom jobs of all things in a virtual space?
Well, first, when we started, oh Lord, I learned a lot. I learned a lot because I was I like things planned out, but I wasn't as planned out as what I should have been. Let's just be honest. None of us knew how to teach in a virtual platform. Last spring, we were only teaching maybe 40 minutes a day, and then everything else was asynchronous. So I came in and I was going to do this, and I was like, okay, boys, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. But I didn't have my slides the way I needed them. I learned that I'm much more of a planner with my slides now than I ever was. So I do 120 every day. I do 120 Google slides. And I go through every single one of them every single day. And it's the same. We start with our message from the principal. Then we stand and we do the Pledge of Allegiance. And that's one of my jobs. So we all mute. And I have one little girl that has a flag, and she stands with her flag. And I have one little girl, well, this week's a little girl, Mahi. One child does the pledge itself, and we all stand there and say it quietly while our microphones are on mute. And then we go into our Shark mission statement because we're a Leader in Me school. So I made sure that all of that routine is still in. And we're responsive classroom also. So we do the whole responsive classroom routine as well. So we do a different greeting every day. We do a different share. And we do a different activity every day.
Wow. That's awesome. And I love it that the kids are taking charge in that. Like that's how you get to keep the jobs going, that somebody gets to be the pledge helper just like they would in the classroom. And somebody gets to lead the school motto or your whatever you said your school saying was, just like you would in the classroom. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I made that chart because I am old and I keep forgetting to go, can I do this tomorrow? Can I do this tomorrow? I said, oh, yes. And then tomorrow would come and I am like the sticky notes. I have sticky notes everywhere. Well, I would write on a sticky note, but I wouldn't date it. So then I'd have all these sticky notes all over my computer, and I could not remember. Oh goodness, this child's was she yesterday? I have no idea. So I went ahead and did a job chart so that I would not forget who it was. They do it for the whole week. So it's the whole week.
Adam, I'm gonna put you on mute while you're putting that back together.
That's fine.
Okay, so those of you who are listening, his microphone fell down, and so he's putting it back together. So it's all ching, 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 ching. I'm the same with you, Cindy. I would not remember who's doing what. I need to have those things in front of me because otherwise it is very easy to let whoever's talking the loudest get the job. You know what I mean? Whoever is the one that's most persistent, and then it's easy for me to forget. So by having that job, what else are you doing that, I see behind you have, those are objectives behind you.
These are my weekly objectives.
Nice.
So, and I have a child read them every day. So they're in my slideshow. So when you get to a certain part that has the objective, a child reads it.
Okay.
Then we discuss what the objective means. So they know exactly what because I feel it's very important for them to know what they're learning and why they're learning it.
Right.
Do this because I say so. No, this is why you need to do it so that you can build onto your word. So you can go ahead and decode your words and read. So
Adam is back.
Boy, that almost hit me right in the face when it fell. The microphone just unclipped.
I used a focus wall in my classroom, which was a little bit like what you have. Mine was not detailed. But what I found was that I was a little resistant when my principal said we were going to have a focus wall. I was like, I don't think I need a focus wall. And then I realized it really did help me make sure that I was really staying focused on what we were supposed to learn. So I love that you have that and that you have your students really active with that. So you have your morning routine, then, and you have your 120 slide deck.
Yeah. What I do is, so after we do our activity, then we go into the morning message, and I have a child read the morning message. And then we go into the weather, and we have a weatherman or a weather girl, and they tell us the weather each day and what they think they're going to be tomorrow. And then we track that to see how many times we get it correct. And we are definitely not Phil. And then we go into your riddle of the day. Oh, we do it every single day. Oh, yes. And I made a mistake one day, and I did the same one by accident. I didn't realize I didn't change it. And I was called out on the carpet in the middle of my walkthrough. Oh, excuse me, Miss Price, you did not change Miss Dee Dee's riddle. Oh, my God. I don't tell them that Miss Dee Dee made this.
Oh, my God. That's happened.
my friend Miss Dee Dee, oh, Miss Dee Dee's so good. I said, yes, she is. I said, so that's why we have to be really quiet when we read this and really use our brains, because Miss Dee Dee wants us to really use our thinking. Okay. So they all get excited to do Dee Dee's riddle.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
And then we go into your poem of the day. And I have my kids read it. The first day I read it to them, but after that they read it and we outline all the nouns, all the verbs, all the grammar that's in the poem, and then we sing it. And by Friday, they're all singing it on their own. It's so cute how they do that.
Yeah.
So when we're done with that, we take a 5-minute break.
And what does that break look like? Does that mean everybody just walks away from their computer? Do you?
I turn off my microphone and my camera.
Uh-huh.
I want them to take that break. They will go and they'll get all the materials for phonics. But when they get back, I want them to feel that they can talk to each other like they would in the classroom or at recess without being right there listening. Of course I am, but they don't know I am. Right. I'm looking to make sure that nobody's saying a bad word or that nobody is being mean to somebody or
body parts are being shown.
I didn't jump in if I needed to jump in. Because believe me, we have had some words said virtually, and we've had naked grandmas walk across the back of our screen. So we have had some things virtually that we would not encounter face to face. So that's why I give them their freedom, but I'm still there in case something happens.
Right. Adam, do you have any experience with things happening on camera?
We don't want to get into that.
Okay, that'll be another episode. And just to be clear, it wasn't Adam. He was.
No, it wasn't me.
Adam was good, but
let's just say that
retinas were blurred a little bit there.
That was an interesting day for sure. Me and 75 other attendees at that session.
Oh my mercy. And so after your riddle, you and your break, I love that break idea. And I love the reasoning behind it so that they have a chance to kind of, interact without feeling like they need to interact. Because if you were there, they'd be interacting with you, right?
Right. Yes. Right. I want them to interact with each other. And it's so cute because you'll hear them say, hey, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? And then they start talking back and forth. Do you want to see my new doll? Do you want to see my dog? And so it's really cute because they're forming relationships that and they're by themselves at home. So it's so nice for them to be able to talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
I think not only I love the break idea that too, but I love how you start your day with, I mean, let's be honest, not so much just core curriculum. Like you're starting it like you would in the classroom and you're starting that routine and you're just building that fun feeling even in a space that might not seem so fun all the time. And I'm sure you've learned from trial and error over these past almost 12 months of doing it, but I think there's probably some teachers out there that are thinking, and I know I've witnessed it from other teachers I've talked to that are thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get this and this and this in. I don't know how people are doing more this year. And I'm not saying anybody has to be doing more this year, but I applaud you that you're still getting that fun, playful side of what kindergarten and first grade and these primary grades should be through poems and all that.
Don't you think that 20 minutes, even though it seems like it's a non-academic moment, doesn't that afford you way more instructional time because you have spent that 20 minutes there?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's just it's like putting money in the bank. You know, you got to build that before you can do anything else. So you come back from your break and
then we do phonics.
Phonics. Okay.
So I do 30 minutes of phonics.
Good for you.
And, during that 30 minutes, I have two of my, special ed children. They go for 30 minutes off into a breakout room with my para and I stay with the class. And so I have to plan her lessons also. So I have all her stuff planned a week at a time. And then, she goes off and does her half hour. And then I stay with the kids and I do my half hour. And we always start with, I make up a song for every month with their sight words hidden underneath. So they have to try to find something to read their sight words. And then we go into a review and then we do whatever skill we're doing that day. Like on Monday, we're going to start San Francisco Zoo Rule. And then we do, dictation and they have to write a sentence every day. And then we go into.
I have a question. Are you having them write in a notebook or are they writing somewhere else?
They have notebooks. I went door to door to all my children, delivered materials so that they would have materials. So they have a notebook, and every day they take out their notebook, and we have it in sections, like we did all of our diagraphs together. I said, boys and girls, we're going to make a resource notebook. I said, this is what big kids have. Oh, really? Oh, yes. You are doing like what high school kids are doing. Oh, my God. And then they get all excited. So they have the little sections. We have our digraphs and our blends, and I show them how we use Discovery Phonics. So we have to mark our parts. So they have their digraphs and their blends, and they're marked, and we write a word for each one so they can see it in context as well as by itself. And then we write a sentence. So, and then we have our section for our opinion writing, our narrative writing, our informational writing. And then we did similes this week. So we have our simile section. So they all wrote their similes. And next week we're going to focus on onomatopoeia. So then we'll have a section of that where they'll have their onomatopoeia words.
Oh, how fun.
That's awesome. So I think when you asked Dee Dee, I assume you were questioning whether they're writing this on paper, they do it in Seesaw or something like that. So
right.
how are you tracking that's being done in a notebook? Are they showing you on screen? Are they sending images of it in?
They show me on screen and I take a picture of it.
Okay.
And I'll also say, okay, boys and girls, I need to see a clearer picture. So please have your mom and dad take a picture of it and upload it into Class Dojo for me. And they'll upload it into Dojo, into their message part for me. And then we also use Seesaw. So I will also have them do something in Seesaw for me also, just so I can make sure. But I don't like how they have a really hard time writing in Seesaw. It's so hard to write online. So that's why I want them to have the paper pencil, because they're not going to be virtual forever. And I don't want them to lose the hand strength, and I don't want them not to be able to form the letters properly.
Yes.
Well, no, I agree. I mean, I love the fact that you're still using pencil and paper, because I think that's in some situations, maybe just because it's easier, like that's a lost thing in some classrooms these days is kids actually, that grip, especially at this young age, that pencil grip and writing nice and neat and knowing what it looks like on paper. So I applaud you for keeping that alive. That's huge.
Well, I also had the parents send me a picture of their child's pencil grip.
Oh, awesome.
And then what I did was for those who did not have a proper grip or had having a hard time, I sent them grips from now that just completely pencil grip. Pencil store. Yeah.
Oriental Trading?
No, pencil,
There's a specific pencil grip store?
Yes.
I did not know this.
Yeah, with paint sticks and stuff.
Well, I'm going to have to look that up for some of my little ones.
That's how old I am.
Can you, if you think of it, will you send me a message and I can put it in the show notes? Because people always love to hear, different resources that we have. So.
Yeah, they are wonderful. I love this company, but I can't remember you. I'm so sorry.
You know what? That happens to me all the time. I mean, I'm just saying, as you get older, it's going to get worse, my friend.
Thank you.
There's a lot of days where Dee and I just look at each other and we just nod because our listeners can understand what we're saying.
Hopefully somebody's able to decipher this mumbo jumbo, right?
But they're awesome. They're awesome pencil grips.
That's cool.
Awesome.
So I want to ask with this schedule and, taking breaks and then coming back, and how has that worked out throughout the year? I mean, did you start that on day one? You put the schedule in place. You made sure those routines were there.
Yes.
With a strict schedule like that, first of all, how are you handling it when students can't make a time? Maybe, something came up at home or internet connections, because that's got to happen. And then how are you handling keeping on schedule? My biggest concern this year was student behaviors, and everybody's seeing that, is that prevalent like it would be in a regular classroom?
I'm going to be honest. I have not had, all my kids show up every day.
Okay.
And I don't have behavior problems.
I don't have behavior management. I like that.
I don't have behavior management. My worst, honestly, is I have a little girl who gets so excited that she cannot not yell out.
Right.
So she gets so excited because the light bulb has just come on. And so she's so excited because now she's understanding everything that we're doing. So she's like, oh, I want to answer. And she just blurts it out. So I'll pull her in a breakout room. I'll just say, honey, I am so excited that you understand and that you're having so much fun learning with us today. But you have to remember, we have to stay on mute so we can finish learning. Yes, Ms. Price. So basically, that's the worst thing I've ever had to do was do a breakout room to explain not to yell out. But I don't have the behavior problems.
So it makes you wonder, how how much just having this routine in place can help that, like, because I'm sure there are teachers who would say the opposite, like, oh my gosh, I can't get this child on, or so I think having a routine and a schedule in place, there's something to say about that for sure.
Well, and I also think your experience, I mean, because this is not your first rodeo.
Right.
You have years of experience to draw on. And so I do feel for those newer teachers who haven't, don't have that bag of tricks.
Yeah. Could you imagine being a first year teacher this year?
No.
Jeez.
I couldn't imagine that. And my very best teacher bestie, love her to death. She is 71 years old. She's been teaching 49 years and she's completely virtual. So yeah.
It's amazing.
She is amazing, and she has learned so much because what I learn, she learns because I go and I help her afterwards. So
of course you do. I'm not surprised. And she does. I mean, she's just amazing.
That's awesome. That would have been my friend Honor. Like you guys both know Honor that I talk about a lot with the other day. She would have been teaching till she would have stayed until they kicked her out. She was like, I'm going to stay here until they pull the crayons out of my hands. Like she would have taught forever.
And she's 49 years kindergarten. Never taught for kindergarten.
Oh, yeah. I bet she's awesome.
There's a lady like that in our Catholic school here in town, Sister Deborah. She's in her 70s and she's Sister Deborah. And they call her just the spunky Sister Deborah, 70 years old teaching kindergarten. And she's a sweet little nun that just does it all. Like she's amazing. And kids that I know that go to that school and I'll hear from their parents, and I'll never forget I was speaking somewhere and Sister Deborah approached me and she goes, I teach in the town you teach in and I just love your YouTube channel. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Like she's like 72 and she's like, I just love your channel. I love following your stories. I'm like, that's amazing.
So yeah, how does it work with math? I mean, because oftentimes you have manipulatives and all of that.
Well, I send stuff home. So they have stuff at home and I make everything. I make sure I make all my own Seesaw for math. So I make sure everything is movable for them.
Perfect.
But I believe in the I do, we do, you do model. So
yes.
Math is very thorough. We go through every single step with them. And then whatever we do for the you do, I do the same exact thing in Seesaw. So that way when they go to Seesaw, there's no questions on what they're supposed to do.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I try to make it as easy for them as possible when it comes to going from class into Seesaw to do the independent work.
Are you exhausted?
I get there.
I'm exhausted listening to you. That all sounds like you're like an army of one.
The way you said I get there was like you were afraid someone in a higher up position was going to be listening to this. Like you're like, no, I'm fine. I'm okay.
I know. She's like, no, I feel really great. I'm on top of the ball. No.
On Monday through Thursday, we in the morning time, by noontime, I've done my morning meeting, I've done my phonics, I've done my reading, and I've done my math by 12 o'clock.
Wow.
What else do you got going then? So after your math,
they go to lunch for a half hour and then they go to special. And during that's called my professional responsibilities time. And that's when I do because now that I'm virtual, they are requiring all virtual special ed teachers. I have to log every single minute that I spend with my special ed kids. So every minute to make sure that their IEP is documented. So I have to keep a running log on every minute that they get services. And then I have to keep a running log on all their progress monitoring and all my parent contacts. So during that time, that's when I work on those. And then I try to do a little bit of my lesson planning because 120 slides takes you a while.
I bet.
So I make sure I try to do some of that. I eat my lunch, which normally consists of like a bagel, and it's fast. And then, I'm back on by 1:30 with them and we do RTI for an hour, a half hour of math and a half hour of ELA. So what we do for ELA RTI is I do your guided reading. So I have 3 groups because I have a student intern. So I have 3 groups. We each take a group and then we have the groups split in even smaller. So we each take 5 kids and then the other ones go off for Seesaw. So we have it planned where we're on with them until about 2:10. And then we break off for our groups, and the kids who go to Seesaw get to log off and go on to Seesaw, and those who are staying in reading groups stay with us until 2:30.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask is how do you manage group? Like, because you still have to do that. And I thought of this when Dee Dee mentioned math. Like, I'm picturing all the time that I had math manipulatives out and how I could see what those kids were doing, and I could immediately pick out, okay, that one still needs help with just counting one-to-one correspondence.
Yeah.
That one's ready to move on to addition, subtraction. And then I would take those like anecdotal notes and all my data, and I would do that during centers. I would pull those instructional groups over. So how are you managing instructional groups when it's those, like skills? That's what it just blows my mind about this year with virtual teachers.
On Zoom, I can give them remote control. So they will come in and they'll take the remote control during math, and they will show me one-to-one correspondence.
Okay.
They'll let them say it out loud as they touch it. So I know which kids are having trouble with that for math. In reading, I do a lot of, okay, boys and girls, stop. Go ahead, start reading for me. Or what word is this? Or this is the clue. What blend does this word begin with? And I'll take my notes as they're telling me in class, with my notes. And then I use the ESGI, and I use that for I've uploaded all of my district assessments into ESGI so that I can just go in and give them like the IDI and give them the blend tests and in first grade, they have to, in order to get proficient, they have to be able to read 155 sight words. So kindergarten teaches them 30 sight words, and then we have 155 to teach them. So I give them the test on that each month to see where they are, so I can kind of build that up and send home notes in Dojo. And I differentiate the Seesaw assignments so that way I have this group here who are still working on letters and sounds. I have this group who's still working on CVC. I have this group who has R control vowels, and this group is vowel teams. And these kids can know all of their sight words, but they don't have comprehension. So let's go ahead and work on this. And
wow. And that's what you're doing during that RTI time. So they're broken up into groups. You have 3 adults running centers, quote unquote centers, and then one group off on Seesaw doing activities that you had to preload for that as well.
Yes.
Good golly. See, and this is why this year, I mean, I know there's no right answer. There's no perfect way this year, which this is why, again, I congratulate and applaud like crazy teachers like you who are making it work and making the best of it. And I see it every day personally with my wife, Trisha, too. Like, she's teaching virtual or in person in the morning, virtual in the afternoon, and then she also has some full-time virtual students that she has to work with, and it just blows my mind that teachers are making it work. And I don't know how you're making it work, but they're making it work.
Novelty.
There you go.
Novelty virtual.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I mean, I see you like with hats and all these different like costumes, and you look like you're having a blast. And so either you're faking it till you're making it, or you really are having a blast. But can you tell people like a few of your favorite activities, the ones that just went really well, students were hooked? Tell the listeners some of those things, if you don't mind.
Well, sure. The one I did today was awesome. I
saw the pictures. I was hoping you were going to mention today.
Well, we were Elsa. And what I do is I can't do a room transformation, but I can do a background transformation.
Right.
I have all my backdrops. I went into, at the end of the year, I went in and got all my stuff out of my classroom. And I have a huge storage unit. Plus I have a junk room right in front of me. Oh my Lord.
You're not going to flip your camera around and show us that? No, I'm kidding. You don't have to.
Oh, you can't. It's my camera. It's my school, that's not my webcam. So I do a backdrop. So I change it up. So today we did, States of Matter with Frozen. So I dressed up as Elsa today, and I had my big giant Swen, and I had the background of Frozen, and I said, boys and girls, Elsa gave me all her magical powers today. No way! I said, yes, she did. I said, do you want to watch Miss Price freeze water? Oh, you can't do that. I said, yes, I can. So I changed the view of my camera so they could see the view with a glass of water. So I poured the water in. I said, okay, boys and girls, now watch. And I had that from really good stuff. Speed Spangler, they do the water gel. So I put the water gel on my fingers and I rubbed it, and then I stuck my hand in the water and it just froze. And I said, boys and girls, look at that state of matter. Look at, we changed the matter. We changed the form of the water into water. It's all solid. Yes, it is a solid now. So they just absolutely loved it. So we made snow, and then we made Olaf Punch. So they got to see all 3 states of matter in one area. So we showed them how my bowl is a solid, but my ice cream is a solid. And then you add my Sprite and it makes a gas. So the liquid and the solid work together and they make a gas. And there you go. All 3 forms of matter.
That's
in
awesome.
one spot.
Oh my gosh. How fun.
I love the freezing thing too, because I bet with them not being right in front of you all the time and you having your hand, like there's probably some really cool things that you can fool them with this year too, like magic type stuff that they don't know.
Hocus and pocus, huh?
Yeah, you could do some really cool stuff.
They love that. They love that. That was one of my favorites. Another favorite was Pirates, when we did Talk Like a Pirate Day. They absolutely love that. And what I do is every day my slides are based on a different theme. So I just change my theme of my slides every day, and then I wear a different hat as much as possible to go with my themes.
Wow. I'm like, my brain hurts listening to you say that you change all this stuff out all the time. Like,
oh my goodness, you should have saw me today. Because this morning I was just regular old Miss Price, and we just got done. We were doing producers and consumers. And last week we did it producers, consumers with a Little Red Hen makes a pizza. And I said, you know what? Let's do a hamburger. And my parent goes, how are we going to do a hamburger? I said, I'm going to write the book, Little Red Hen Makes a Hamburger. So I wrote the book, Little Red Hen Makes a Hamburger, and I had all my giant pieces, and we talked about producer and consumer. And then I said, okay, boys and girls, now Miss Price it's our 20-minute break. Everybody go do your seesaw. Miss Price has an errand to run. And I stood up, I turned my camera off, and I transformed the back of my room into Frozen. So in 20 minutes, and they came back 20 minutes later, and here I am running in with my Elsa costume on, and everything is all up there.
That is hilarious.
So I gotta know, what does your daughter think about that? Like, if she happened to walk downstairs and see you dressed as Elsa, what goes through her mind?
Well, I used to be cool when she was little and went to the elementary school that I taught at. She thought I was the coolest thing in the world. Now, she's like, oh my God.
And you're putting this out there for people to see.
At Christmas time we did, the whole day was centered around Santa's stuff. And I have a hat that's the chimney, and Santa's feet are sticking out. I came down to ask me a question about class, and there I am sitting there with this hat, with his feet just flopping, and she's like, I can't even with you. But she had to move to we have a basement, then there's our main level. We live in a townhouse, and then there's the top level. Well, she had to move to the top level because even in the basement, I am so loud that her teacher yelled at her for her background noise. And she's like, it's my mom teaching background.
I love that.
Oh, that's funny. Your energy is something that, I've had such a privilege of being in different conferences with you. And, you guys, if you've never, those people who know her, she's like the Energizer, but she does not stop. She goes 100 miles. If she's going to go take something to another room, she runs to the other room. Like me, I'm like, how slow can I walk so that I don't have to do anything else? She's like runs there and she comes running back. I mean, she's that energy level, is what is probably sustaining you during this time.
That and lots of diet.
Hey, cheers, my friend. Cheers. So I guess one thing we wanted to talk about a couple different things, but I don't want to go too long, but what would be something that you are doing this year that you want to make sure that you include next year? Were there any tools, activities that you were kind of forced to try this year that you may want to include next year?
Well, I've learned Prezi.
Not a darn thing.
Like, I'm forgetting this year.
I've learned Prezi, so I was able to record myself reading books for Seesaw, which I like because I like that video part of it.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to incorporate that. Seesaw, cause they just threw us into Seesaw. Watch my district get mad at me. But, there was no training. Their training consisted of read these words, mark off that you did it, and here's your account.
And good luck.
Yeah. So I was like, oh no, I can't do this because, my kids need this. So I trained myself and I just became a Seesaw ambassador, 3 weeks ago.
Good for you.
I became a Seesaw ambassador. I've never used the thing before.
I think I just I got ambassador status when I was still in the classroom, and I keep retaining it, like just because I do. And now I got a notice saying what's the next level with a Seesaw certified educator. Yeah. I was like, oh wow, all right. So yeah, I feel like you though, because I used Seesaw back when, like, I always tell people, like, my kids were using Seesaw before Seesaw was cool, right? Like, because we used it years ago as just a simple digital portfolio tool, which is what it was originally created for, right? And now that there's lessons and activities and all this stuff going on, I mean, the pandemic was good for Seesaw, let's be honest, right? Like, it blew it up. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I still feel like there's so much I don't know about it because I'm not using it all the time. I can't imagine what teachers use all the time have learned using that tool.
So you're thinking Seesaw will make an appearance in your classroom in 2021, 2022?
Oh. Did you repeat that? You froze.
Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, you both did.
Oh, okay. Do you think that you'll use Seesaw in 2021, 2022?
We'll use Seesaw, and I'm going to stay with the Google Slides and have them as detailed as they are. Because one, it keeps me on track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it also makes it so that I know that I have not missed anything. I want to make sure that they're getting everything possible. So making my slides detailed is for their benefit more than mine. So I definitely want to do that.
Well, I would think too that having all that detail in place, like those slides now, and having all this stuff prepared for a virtual possibility in the future, when there's a snow day and you can jump right into e-learning, or if a student is sick and you have all that stuff prepared, like, I feel like one thing this is preparing teachers for is to help for those missed days in the future, right? Like, you're going to have all that ready to go. And I know you're going to have to put work into it. I'm not trying to knock that at all, but like, if a student's absence now, you don't have to create brand new stuff while they're gone. Like, I feel like teachers aren't going to have to think, oh my gosh, I got to get this ready and this ready and this ready, right. Because they've had so much practice doing it this year.
And I make a copy of my slideshow and send it to parents.
Wow.
Nice.
So I had a couple of them that were having a hard time getting the skills and understanding how to teach it to them. So so at the end of each day, I make a copy and send it to, I have 4 parents that I send it to daily. So that's the first thing I do when I sign off from class. I make sure I get that slideshow out to them.
Well, and I'm also thinking, since you have your slides, updating them for next year might not be as starting from scratch, right?
It won't be starting from scratch, but we do not have a curriculum per se. We do learning maps. So unless.
Okay, I hear a beep. Is that me?
I don't know what the beep is.
Okay.
Unless there is a God shining down on us. Normally they change our maps so the skills are at different times of the year. So if I have my lovely little slides with all my pumpkins on it, hopefully
it'll line up.
Yeah. Yes. But I've been here 14 years, so I know now.
It's like, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I think what Dee Dee said about energy is what I know I'm taking away from this. Like, it's just the fact that you just have turned something that could have been the worst year possible into the best year possible. And that's something I've been using with teachers when I speak to teachers is, let's be honest, this isn't going to be the best year ever, right? But we can make it the best year possible for our students. And you no doubt have done that for these kids that you've had in your life this year.
I have the privilege of spending my day with 28 of the most amazing people on earth.
I just love you. I've always loved you, but I love you even more right now. So
they are my life. I mean, yes, I'm a mom but I'm a teacher, and right. I am probably the most consistent thing these children have in their life. And when I may be tired, but when I log on and Miss Price, like yesterday, on my birthday, I'm sitting there teaching math, and all of a sudden I look up, and this little girl has a little sign, "Happy birthday, Miss Price."
I saw that picture.
And I'm like, that right there makes it all worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm the lucky one because I get to spend my day with them. I'm the lucky one. And these parents are entrusting me into their home.
I don't
Are you beeping, Didi? I don't know.
It is me. I don't know. But, you know what?
I don't know what it is. It's not.
It's absolutely terrifying. Okay, so that's a great spot to stop. No, but you were like kind of winding down. You were talking about what amazing job you have, and then I have some kind of sound Armageddon going on at my house. But
well, I think what you just said is like you are the quote that keeps going around this year that says schools haven't closed, buildings have closed, right? And you've made that seem so true today. That school hasn't shut down. Buildings shut down. School, right? And I think you're proof of that the school is not about where we're at. The school is about who we're with. And you made that very clear.
Well, we loved having you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And it's just been a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
No, the privilege has been all mine. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys taking the time to spend with me.
Well, we love you. You guys listening, have a great afternoon. We don't even know what time of the day it is.
I lost track.
But we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to the Classroom Collaborative Podcast.
If you are enjoying these episodes, please make sure that you subscribe wherever you are finding them.
And share and rate it so others can find it as well.
We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening.
Bye.